Hello, welcome to another one of my non-Pokemon videos, but I hope you will stay and enjoy the talk. Today we are actually going to be discussing light bulbs, which may in theory sound like a very boring topic, but there is so much more to light bulbs than you would ever imagine. First off is the confusing family relationships between light bulbs. Goodness, sorry, I'm losing my voice. First off, light bulbs, it's kind of random what light bulbs end up in your house, you know? You buy some from Walmart, put a couple of those in, one of them dies, so you get the ones that you bought at Target the other day and replace that one, and then later you are running late from work and you remember that you need some light bulbs and you just randomly stop at Walgreens and grab a couple, and you're just gonna have the most random collection of light bulbs in your house. Well, so when you get all of that random collection, you'd be like, well, none of these light bulbs are from the same place. Surely they're not related. Well, even if the plastic and the material that made them isn't related, the light bulbs will develop family relationships with each other within a household. Usually, if you have a type of lighting fixture that includes two light bulbs within it to light up a room, such as I have, or maybe it's three, really however many, usually light bulbs that are in close proximity like that will consider each other brothers and sisters. Then comes the cross rooms, so different rooms in the same house. Usually they will call other little collections their cousins or something else, but what gets really concerning and confusing is when they either start having relationships with other light bulbs, like, you know, one light bulb in one room starts dating a light bulb in the other room. That gets very messy. And the other one, oh goodness, the other one is when they try to claim that they are the parent of other light bulbs. And normally you'd think like, oh, that's so cute, like the light bulbs are like this little family and they're like, I'm gonna take care of this smaller light bulb. No, that is not what being a family means in terms of light bulbs. Oh goodness. Alright, so let's start off with light bulbs in romantic relationships. So of course it seems confusing. How would they get to know a light bulb that is in another room? Well, that's easy. Sometimes there's a lot to it. They can communicate through the light they spread, so when they're both on at the same time, they can talk if their light, is close enough. So, if one of them is in the family room and one of them is in the kitchen, and in the walkway between them, they barely overlap, they can talk through that just like you would like a phone call. But that is not always ideal. You can't really get that much across. So that is when things get really weird. Every night, when we turn off the lights for several hours, during that time, the light bulbs actually travel into their own little light bulb world, basically through these little portals that open up within the lighting fixture. They go into their world, and it's I don't know a ton about it because I'm not a light bulb, I haven't been there. But my sources lead me to believe that it is basically just a wide expanse of darkness. But the light bulbs are there, so they just light it up. Then there's not really much to do there. There are some I don't really know, some kind of it seems to be for their entertainment and enjoyment, but I don't really understand all of the stuff that they have. But they have these weird little cube things, and the cubes have a couple little wires coming off of them, and they're these little fluff balls on the end. They seem to like those. I don't know, it sounds like a cat toy. Maybe they're playing with them like cats. I don't know. Maybe they have pet cats. Probably don't, but maybe. Maybe there are miniature cats in the light bulb world that they keep as pets. That could actually explain a few other things. But that is besides the point. So when they're in the light bulb world, they have free reign to go around and talk to and converse with any light bulbs they want. So when two light bulbs that like each other start hanging out, they usually become it usually gets really questionable because they kind of just block all of the other light bulbs, and they just start causing a lot of problems because light bulbs have to stay true to their brothers and sisters that they are in the same light fixture with. because they all need to work together to light a room fully. But when they get distracted with a light bulb that is located in a different room during the day, they usually will forget to do their job, and they won't turn on as much because they will actually be in the light bulb realm, talking and hanging out. And at this point, that gets really bad for the people in the house, and they don't want a light bulb that isn't working most of the time. So either the brothers and sisters need to convince the light bulb to get back to it, but that light bulb will become very upset with its brothers and sisters because they took them away from the light bulb that it was in love with, and it usually ends up in a lot of tension within light fixtures. But sometimes it works out okay and they reconcile, but often it doesn't, and the light bulb ends up being distracted for too long, and the people decide it's time to replace it. And when they usually replace one at a time. They replace the first one that was in the relationship, and it's gone. And so the next night, the one that it was dating comes to the light bulb place and is like, where is my light bulb that I'm dating? And it just turns into pandemonium. They usually get very aggressive towards the brothers and sisters of the light bulb that they were dating. And there are a lot of fights that go on, but usually in the end, the light bulb that was dating ends up getting pretty beat up, and everybody kind of makes fun of them. It's frowned upon, I guess, is what you could say. It's frowned upon to date within the light bulb community. And so they'll usually end up pretty beat up, and before long, they'll just not even have the strength to continue lighting up a room, and then they will be replaced. And just like that, 2 light bulbs are gone. So that's basically why that's a problem. It usually leads to losing a lot of light bulbs within a community, and it leads to a lot of fighting, which is not very helpful between light bulbs and very inconvenient for the humans that own the house because they will lose a lot of light bulbs around the same time. The other thing that I mentioned I would talk about is when light bulbs try to adopt other light bulbs as their children. It just doesn't work. Basically, they can't adopt light bulbs that are within their light fixture because those are all brothers and sisters. So they have to start trying to parent light bulbs in different light fixtures within the house. But it's very clicky, you could say. It's like each light fixture is a click. And they don't always like it when someone comes and tries to target one of them. That's a lot of why they don't like the dating. They're like, this is like breaking us apart. We don't want any of that. But when they start trying to parent them, it feels the same, like they're trying to take away one of their brothers and sisters. And it gets messy a lot there, and light fixtures will get mad at each other, and it's just kind of problematic in that way enough. But then the thing is so you might be asking, like, why in the world would a light bulb want to adopt another light bulb as its kid? Well, I'm not 100% sure all of their reasons, because a lot of the time when the second that a light bulb becomes a parent light bulb, it like adopts the other light bulb officially. Usually the parent light bulb will stop lighting up within a few days. It's kind of like a sign of being old. Like you adopt another light bulb and everybody's just like, wow, they're old. And when a light bulb is old like that, either they last forever and they just are so happy about their child light bulb, or they get too excited about the light bulb baby, child, whatever you call it. Really light bulbs are, age is kind of relative between them because, you know, they're always being replaced and whatnot, and there's a lot that goes into how they calculate, you know, age differences and whatnot, and it's just messy. Maybe I'll do another video sometime just entirely explaining how light bulbs differentiate ages and things, but we will skip that for now. And so when they have a younger light bulb that they consider their child, usually the child will become kind of separated from its brothers and sisters. So it will still be in the same light fixture as them because that's just where it physically is during the day. But during the night, when they are in their light bulb like realm, they always want to hang out with their parent light bulb, which, like, you know, it seems unusual because humans, it's not like they just want to follow their parents around, but for light bulbs it's a lot different. So they always spend their time with the parent light bulb, and it's kind of awkward for all the other light bulbs because they're like, what's happening here? Like, what are they doing? And I don't know. It's light bulbs are just the social politics between light bulbs. It's so confusing. The immense like social code that they have needs a lot more studying and looking into, and there's so much that I have yet to figure out between them. But basically, the main point I'm trying to make why it's bad when they adopt a child is because one, it breaks up the community even more, and it usually leads to the parent either fizzling out quickly or lasting forever and becoming one of those light bulbs that people are like, oh yeah, I've had that light bulb forever. And you know, when somebody just hangs around just a little bit too long, it gets annoying. And all the other light bulbs eventually start hating them because they have been around forever. And they usually get very, very egotistical. They're like, oh yes, I'm so old and so well functioning. I've been lighting up this same room for years and years. You pathetic little things probably won't even last a year. And it just gets messy. There's so much smack talk. All the light bulbs just get mad at that one, and that one just kind of is a jerk. And it's just not very pleasant for them. It's weird how it just is a very like constant trend that's always kind of what happens when a light bulb tries to parent another. They get into this state where they're just very annoying and think they're better than all the other light bulbs, and ultimately it just causes a lot of grief. Now, for child light bulbs, when they get adopted by another light bulb, for them, like at first, it's just kind of like they have another light bulb to hang out with and talk to, and it's just kind of supportive and helps them feel like more capable themselves of lasting longer and lighting rooms more often. But it eventually will really turn tides. Once the parent light bulb starts getting into that really egotistical phase, they will start like using the child like a trophy. Like, it's weird. They'll like brag about how strong they are and how much light they can have, and they like show off their child, and they're like, look, I'm such a better light bulb than you all because I have this younger light bulb that I'm like teaching and parenting, and I'm gonna last way longer than all of you. And at that point, the child light bulb will start receiving a lot of criticism from the other light bulbs. Its brothers and sisters will start being even more and more estranged from it, and often this leads to a lot of hard times for the child light bulb. It will feel very left out and very dark and very lonely when it's not around the parent light bulb. And so often the child light bulbs will go out, or they will try to last long enough to stay with the parent, but they just won't shine as much. You know, sometimes light bulbs, it's not like they go out entirely, they just don't emit as much light. Well, that's kind of what happens with the child light bulbs. They just don't have it in them to emit as much light. It's almost like the parent light bulb is kind of like sucking some of their strength and their brightness out of them. And it's like a parasitical situation, and it just harms the general light bulb community. It's a better thing to have your light bulb community get along, because your light bulbs will be more likely to last longer, to stay brighter, and just it will be more efficient for like bills and stuff because they won't like waste power to, you know, fight and whatnot. It's just better to have good social politics between your light bulbs. Unfortunately, there's not always a ton you can do to control the light bulbs, but if you at least, you know, maybe just say thank you to them sometimes when you're turning them off for night. Thank them for always shining for you. Maybe it will make them feel good enough inside that they won't need to find satisfaction and happiness through being in a relationship with another light bulb, or adopting a light bulb, or parenting a light bulb. Adopting and parenting a light bulb, or, you know, being adopted as a light bulb child. So just be thoughtful of your light bulbs and try to make them aware that they are appreciated. And that will help them find the fulfillment that they need in life without going to means that are just going to make things messy. I hope you have been enlightened and know a lot more about light bulbs now. That is all I have for you today. I will see you all next time.